Alrighty, hello everybody, VectorCat here, and welcome to a bit of an experiment. Trying a video today instead of just an audio podcast because I think some of the things we're going to cover today may be helped by having some visual aids. I'm going to do my best to narrate all of this so that it will make sense also as an audio podcast, and then I will find a way to link everybody to the video for those that are interested. So, as the Civ 6 Challenge League exists mostly on Reddit, I spend a lot of time on Reddit seeing people ask questions about Civ 6, also in Discord and sometimes on Facebook as well. And because of the Epic Store giveaway, there are a lot of new players, and some of the questions I see repeated. And so I thought it might be a good idea to collate these regularly asked questions and put answers in one central location. So that's the goal. It's a little unwanted advice from me for these regularly asked questions. And I'm hoping that it helps new and experienced players alike. So first things first, a lot of people are asking about how to settle your first city, how to start, and what you do on your first few turns. But I've also seen some questions about setting up the game itself. So we're going to get into that first. That's where we're going to start. So we are going to start ourselves a game here, single player, and we're going to create game, and we're going to go into advanced setup so that we can really dig into these things. So where do you start? Well, I recommend selecting your leader first. Now for new players, you want a Civ that has some flexibility. You want to learn a lot about the game. You want to have options. You want to feel free. You're about to go on a long adventure with a civilization, and you want to experiment and try things and learn as much about the game as you can as quickly as possible. I've got a few recommendations for you here, all right? First of all, let us go to Rome. Where are you, Rome? So Rome's a great starter civ because their bonuses lead to a lot of different win conditions. You get some free monuments for some early culture, you get some free roads for some fast movement, and you get a great unit in the Legion that can help you out offensively or defensively. Another great thing about Rome is you get the Bath, which is a unique aqueduct, and let me tell you, the aqueduct is a great district in Civilization 6. We're going to get more into districts later, but just let me tell you, you are going to love aqueducts as soon as you start building them, if you haven't already. Another great start for new players is Japan. Their leader, Hojo, is wonderful. Japan is great because it really helps you understand the district system that is in Civ 6, and it is an essential mechanic to understand and appreciate. So Japan gets extra bonuses to their district adjacency, and this can really double down on forcing you to really understand this mechanic. And I really can't stress how important it is. So with Japan, you get bonus adjacency from your districts that are next to other districts. Also remember, never forget this, the city center counts as a district as well. The city center is where your city starts, but it also functions as a district for adjacency purposes. The city center is just the most important district in the game. Another great thing about Japan is that you get a combat bonus on coastal tiles, which helps you play defensively. You've got a decent unit in the samurai. It's in a weird place in the tech tree, but its ability to maintain combat strength when injured is really good and can really help you defend yourself when you're starting to ramp up difficulty and you're facing harder AI to combat. Another great thing about Japan for new players is that flexibility that I mentioned with Rome as well. You're going to get half-price encampments, holy sites, and theater squares. This spread of 50% production cost districts enables you to be flexible and choose whatever win condition you want to go for. You can start with a religious and culture game and maybe pivot into a domination victory later. Or you can use those early encampments to set up a defensive base for yourself and then pivot into a different win condition later. They are versatile, but they're not necessarily weak at any of these things. You know that statement, jack of all trades, master of none. That's kind of true here, but they still feel really strong, especially in the late game with the electronics factory. It's a pretty decent building. And so I really like Japan here as a starting player civilization. There are some other great options. Uh, Germany is great because of the production that you get from the Hansa, and that extra policy card slot is really, really good. You get an extra military policy slot, which can also give you some flexibility. But I think today we're going to go for Japan because this also gives us an opportunity to naturally segue into talking about map types, which are some questions that I see a lot because Japan is a bit of a map dependent civ, but not entirely, right? They're not as dependent on terrain as someone like, say, Congo or Brazil is dependent on having that rainforest on the map, okay? So let's stick with Japan. Now that we're playing Japan and we know we want to play as them, we probably want a map that has some coast on it, all right? So let's look at these map types. We're probably not going to go Pangaea, okay? Pangaea is probably going to be out for us because we don't want to be landlocked. We want to have some coastline. Archipelago would be great because it's all of these small land masses and a lot of water. Continents and islands, by the way, really just a better version of continents in my opinion. Continents and islands is a great map addition to the game. Continents feels a little less interesting because you don't have the smaller land masses that you get on continents and islands. Love this map. It's versatile. It's good for almost any civ because if you're a more land-based civ, you can just gravitate towards the larger continents. If you're someone like Japan, go for the smaller islands, right? East Asia, natural fit with Japan, as would be the true start location East Asia. Now, if you're into more of a role play or historical reenactment type of Civ experience, these true start location maps are really good options there. A word of warning about these, they don't seem to be updated to work with all DLC. So you're not going to be able to place dams on the TSL maps. It's a bit of a bummer, but we'll get into more about that later. Small continents would also be good for Japan, but know with this you're going to be losing an opportunity to build like really large, wide megacities, right? Because these continents are going to be a bit smaller, as the name suggests. You might have a few, but you're not going to have many. Terra is fun. So the thing about Terra is all the major civs are going to start on one half of the world, and then most of the city-states are going to start on the other. So if you're a coastal civ like Japan, you might be able to meet those other city-states faster than other people, right? Terra is also a really great map for the Maori because you start in the water. So you have the opportunity to get these city-state bonuses very, very early. That can be a very fun way to play. Now, if you're looking for a real challenge, you might try Pangaea with Japan because you're not going to have those coastal tiles. Primordial is also a really good way to challenge yourself because it just gets wacky. Okay, so all that being said, clearly we have a lot of options, but we want a fairly balanced game here. We're not playing for the memes, we're not playing for the challenge. We want something that is just going to help get us acquainted to the game. Now, to that end, I think we're going to go continents and islands because we want a balance between land tiles, which are generally more valuable than water tiles, and we want some water to move around and explore, and we want those coastal bonuses as Japan. We want some area to go out and explore and colonize, but we just want a balance between all of these things. And continents and islands is a really good balance to strike. So we're going to go ahead and select that, right? Now, we can adjust this balance a little bit to either end of the spectrum, either it be easy or difficult. First of all, map size, let's go ahead and turn this up to standard, okay? See, it's interesting to me. This is the standard map. They could have called it medium, but instead they call it standard. And to me, that suggests that this is the balanced Civ experience that the devs recommend. I like this map type. It gives enough variety. It lets you have a number of allies, but you can't ally with everybody, so you have to make decisions there. You also have room for more city-states. And in fact, I usually will come up here and I will turn this up a little bit. I like having city-state variety in the game. So I'll increase that by, let's say 25%. Let's take that from 12 to 15. I don't want too many city-states on this map because I want to have room to expand. But I want to have potential allies, trading partners, armies that I can levy if I get into trouble. And I want to have variety of those great, unique city-state improvements that come with being suzerain of a city-state. Difficulty is not going to matter too much to this video. This is about game systems and infrastructure and how things work. It's not about, having a hugely competitive level stream. This is not about deity gameplay or anything like that. This is about understanding core mechanics of the game, right? We're going to start in the ancient era because, we're going to go from 1 to 500. This is about the start of the game, right? For many players that are asking questions about that, it would be weird to start somewhere else. So map size. Now resources. If you want to give yourself a little leg up, set it to abundant. You'll have more options to approve resources. Just also understand that you're setting it to abundant for your opponents as well. This can make it easier for you to get horses and iron and also luxury resources, but also understand you are giving that advantage to the AI as well. So that I can try to best explain, a default game experience, I'm going to leave most of this on standard. World age doesn't matter to Japan all that much. However, if we were to put this on new, because we have more mountains and volcanoes, we would have fewer options to place our districts because you cannot place districts on mountains, right? You can put them on hills, but not on districts or volcanoes. Now, the difference there is that a map with more mountains can be great for holy site and campus adjacencies, but remember, we're playing as Japan. If we don't have as many mountains for adjacency, we can create our own adjacency with our other districts, okay? So if we were going to do anything as Japan, I think we would set it to old, but we're going to leave it as standard. Start position. Having trouble finding good starts? Just set it to legendary. Just go for it. It's not cheating. It's not cheese. If it makes the game more fun for you, do it. Again, I'm trying to show default practice here, so I'm going to leave it as standard. Temperature is going to affect how much tundra or desert is on the map. Now, if you're playing as the Mali and you want a really powerful, expansive game, go ahead and set the temperature to hot. If you're playing as Canada or Russia and you want the same experience, set it to cold. And then conversely, if you want more of a challenge, right? If you want to play a Russia game that's really, really challenging, take some of the tundra away from yourself and see how you do. Right? So there's ways to make it easier on yourself and ways to make it more difficult if you want. Rainfall is going to affect how much wood and rainforest, right, there is on your map, okay? This can be great if you need a lot of that rainforest. Like if you're playing as Congo, or you're playing as Brazil, or you're playing as the Maori and you want all that, just go ahead and set the rainfall to wet and just laugh your way through a game that can be a lot of fun. I really want a balance of open tiles and wood tiles because I want to have some woods that I can chop for production when I need it, rainforest that I can chop for, food and production when I need it, but I want to have some open land where I can place my districts, okay? Sea level. Now, this one here, I think I'm actually going to set to low because I want less water on the map. I want to have oceans that I need to explore, but I want to have some land to improve. Remember that coastal cities can be very, 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 very powerful, but land tiles in the game are always going to be more valuable than water tiles. Okay? There are ways that you can improve water tiles in the game to make them amazing. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus is a wonder that does amazing things to water tiles. And later on in the game, you've got things like offshore wind farms, you've got things like seasteads, you've got the fishery improvement that you get from the governor, I believe it's Liang. There are a lot of ways to improve water tiles, but land tiles are going to be more versatile early on. And we want to start on turn 1, growing our civilization as strong and fast as possible, right? So I'm just going to adjust this because that's the way I like it. We're not going to deal with Apocalypse or Secret Societies mode right now. This is about understanding the core system, okay? Last thing that I like to do is decide, do I like my jersey, right? And you can change this if you want by selecting this. I kind of like this inverted red and white. That's kind of strong and fun. All right, so we're going to play a backwards Japan today, right? Okay. If you want to insert some seed numbers that you find on Reddit or somewhere else, you can do that down here. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to see what RNGesus and Sean Bean give us today. So, all right, so that's enough yapping. Let's go ahead and start the game. We're not going to adjust the leaders. We're just going to see which random leaders the game picks for us. And I don't know if we're even going to meet them in the context of this video, but we may. Who knows? So if we do, maybe we can show some early game combat or diplomacy.
From the first stirrings of life,
I don't know if we're going to get there,
water,
but we'll find out.
to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest. From this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. The great wave of Buddhism follows you, Shikan of Japan, Hojo Tokimun. Your people truly understand what it is to practice balance, and even your finest samurai will be well learned and spiritually apt. Be strong. Embrace the divine wind.
All right, there we go.
You will.
Okay. All right, so an interesting start here. First of all, we've got some desert to the north, which is not necessarily ideal, but can be improved upon later. And these desert tiles can be really great for placing districts, right? We've got some fresh water to the south. This is actually not a bad tile to settle on, although this Plains Hill is pretty good too. And I'll talk about why here in a bit. So before I start thinking about settling too much, I'm going to think about moving my warrior. I would have some good visibility if I moved this way, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So one tile at a time. All right, so having done that, I'm more interested in this down here because there's fresh water than I am here. So I want to get a little more visibility here. Yeah, okay. So we've learned a lot here. First of all, we have learned that a second city can be settled here with some really good production. All right, because this will eventually be a 2-2 tile. It'll be 2 food, 2 production after it's settled and be next to another one. Here, if we settle on this tile, it will be 2 food and 2 production because we're going to crush those woods by settling on it, right? Additionally, we could settle here on fresh water, but that's going to close us off from settling here. That's not necessarily a bad thing because we can quickly grow to these better tiles here. We could eventually then settle up here. This city may take some time to grow, but it eventually will. One thing to keep in mind is that your capital city, because it starts first, is usually going to be a little bit better than your other cities. So you can accept a bit of a weaker starting position than you can in your later cities. This right here, this tile, would be a +4 harbor if I wanted to settle on that desert, though I really don't recommend it. So let's talk about this for a second. I'm kind of thinking that I want to settle on this tile, actually sacrifice a turn and get that free gold. I want that fresh water, and I want this floodplain for some nice maybe dam and aqueduct and industrial zone adjacency bonus, right? So that really is an option. And that's worth burning the turn. It really is, because getting this food from the sheep early on really works out with what I want to do. I really like that plan, so that's what we're going to do. And then we will keep exploring with our warrior. Oh, and look, we have a cultural city-state over here, which is just fantastic. So we are going to go ahead and settle here. We will get some era score for settling on the coast, which is nice, right? And then we are going to need to pick our first tech. We've got these sheep nearby, animal husbandry, easy. We're going to go for a slinger. We're going to see what are we working. This is the best tile we can work. It's not ideal, but it is the best tile that we can work for now. It's going to get that slinger out quick. And as soon as we have 50 gold, we can purchase this sheep tile. So we've met a cultural city-state. That's a good one. Their city is a lot stronger than mine. That may have to become my city later. So we're going to keep exploring. The benefit of this is that we were the first to meet them. So we get one free envoy right here, right? And they have a quest. They want a trade route. That is something that we can easily do. The benefit of this culture is that we're going to start expanding our border to the sheep tile and others faster, which is great for growth. Trying to scout the hills as often as I can because they're going to increase the visibility. Slower movement in hills is not really a problem because in case some barbarians come up quickly, I want to be able to get to my capital and respond. See, and look at there. We've already expanded here. So I'm going to make sure that that's the tile I'm working. All right, good. One thing to remember about this game and about working your tiles is that there is a bit of a hidden cost in working your tiles. Each tile costs 2 food to work. Okay, so this tile right here is only producing 2 production. Okay, so this tile here was barely producing anything, right? I want you to just think of that. Working a tile cost me 2 food, right? Okay, and so see, now here we go. See, this is the advantage of keeping your early scouting close because now we have a scout. If this scout gets back to the encamp, we'll have barbarians. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just try to block him and see if he wants to come closer to me. All right, so I don't have enough population to get out a settler yet, and I've already seen a barbarian, so I'm going to go ahead and queue up a couple of slingers. And another option would be to get a builder online, but I only have one tile that I want to improve, so I'm going to wait on that just a little bit. Although I could. This is going to be enough army to take care of this encampment, so I'm going to slide a builder in before that 3rd slinger. And I might swap that out for a settler.
At his best, man is the noblest of all animals.
So
separated from law and justice.
Got this.
Let's
change our policies. Our policies. Discipline, always go discipline. This is really up to you, whether you go God King or urban planning. I only have 1 city right now, so the benefit of this card is 1 production, right? If I had 3 cities, it would be different, but I only have 1. Now, I would like a Pantheon here, so I'm going to go God King. And I'm doing this because I have some fairly decent production tiles. Yes, I have these. It's going to be okay when I get this tile, and I'm going to go ahead and buy that. Right, so next turn, when I get that 2nd citizen, my production is going to be really great. Alrighty, and again, it's settling on that maze tile that allows me to do this, because the tile that you settle your city on has always worked for free. So I'm getting that extra 2 gold every turn for free. It is going to be a while before I get this, but I'm going to start working on it because it leads to much better things. You can always swap out of it later.
I am fond of pigs.
See if I can chase the scout down.
Cats look
down.
Going
to give another hit here and then fortify.
Treat us as equals.
And now, since I'm on the coast, I'm going to go sailing. I'm not too concerned with getting a religion, so I'm not going to rush it. I just want a Pantheon. See if I can get this kill. Good. Got that. Okay, great. And let's go ahead and go into options and interface. Hang on 1 second. Where is the... Oh, well, never mind. Or, no, it's in... Here we go. Okay, brilliant. All right, so those pop-ups are turned off. So I'm going to try to get this scout kill with the slinger so that I can get the boost to archery. I could get it with the warrior eventually, but I don't want to because I want the boost. Let's pop up and let's fortify on the hill. Okay, so because we're feeling pretty safe here, I think this is a good opportunity actually to go for an early greedy settler because I've got this really good 3 production tile. It's not a bad idea. So let's get this builder online so we can get that settler faster. Good, good. Still chasing that scout. Do a little slinger scouting. Another reason that you may want to go slingers early on in the game as you're getting to know it is that it makes it easier to defend against the AI. You want to get a few slingers and then upgrade them to archers, and it can help you out a lot. Try to get, about 180 gold, right? After you've got 3 slingers, and then upgrade your 3 archers all at once. It can help you out a lot. All right, so there's a really good city down here, even though it is tundra. We could go, like a city center here, and then a aqueduct. Right, so we could do something like this down here, right? Maybe a canal city would be. Canal city would be here. Would be good. Put our industrial hub here. Gonna have I think a +4 campus here, right? Because we're gonna aqueduct to this mountain. And then we're going to put a city center here, right? And then we could maybe a harbor here. Yeah, I like that, right? And so now you see how we're using our Japan bonus to get all of these districts to have better yields. We could do something similar here in the capital. I think that this would be a nice place for our industrial zone. May find a better place for that later, but this gives us the opportunity to put something like the Venetian Arsenal down, which is a delightful wonder for a coastal map. Although I can never find its pin. We're just going to use the wonder pin. A great wonder because it gives you 2 boats anytime you build 1. We're still going to try to chase that scout because I want the archery boost. There's also a really great pyramids and Petra City in here somewhere, depending on where I want to settle it. There's actually some pretty good tiles up here. This is a little more desert than you may sometimes want, but overall, this is not the worst starting location in the world. There's probably some really good stuff over here too. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of coastal tiles that can be improved. I've got a nearby ally. You could really do something with this start. You really, really could. All right, so you see here, I've got my builder. I'm going to be improving 3 tiles soon. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out of craftsmanship, right? Because I don't want to waste the bonus I'm going to get from improving those 3 tiles. I might improve one of these, the sheep, and then buy this to improve it so I can get the boost to irrigation. All right. So yeah, so I'm already seeing a lot of district placement here, using the water for food. Putting a city right here on this tile for a +4 harbor would be a good idea. Maybe this is a Statue of Liberty city or a Colossus city. There's a lot of options up here. And then if I run out of food in this city, this right here is a really great place to put a city and then send some trade routes from this city down to my starved desert city. Would be a really good idea here. So that's something to keep in mind as you explore. As you explore, use these pins, put them down, think about strategies that you can employ, because this right here, this city may not be much right when it's first built. But if you have an internal trader ready to go and deploy for this city is going to be amazing. All right? So yeah, so this is not bad. This is pretty decent. I seem to have a good defensible position. I've got room to expand. I'm happy with this. All right, so that's one start, right? Let's look at a few more. Let's look at a few more. Good, good, good. This is going well, I think. It might not be. I don't know. It's the internet. Someone will tell me if
From
it
the
is.
first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far.
Because it's not
Now
like the internet
begins
is
your
short on
greatest
opinions.
quest.
You know what I mean?
From this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. The great wave of Buddhism follows you.
I mean, I'm doing opinions
Shipping
right
of
now.
Japan, Hojo Tokimun. Your people truly understand what it is to practice balance, and even your finest samurai will be well learned and spiritually apt. Be strong. Embrace the divine wind.
Oh, good. Okay, the anti-Japan start. All right. So let's talk about this. I am not on the coast, and that is okay. What I want to figure out is how do I get to the coast efficiently? I don't have any of my beloved plains, hills, tiles here, but I do have a river start. So if we look at the settler lens, here we can see that this is no water. This is fresh water. Okay? Right. So again, I'm going to leave my settler in place and try to figure out what is the best way to move here. I think the move that tells me the most is moving my warrior here. It told me nothing. This, well, it did tell me one thing. So this right here is a Plains Hill tile that is on freshwater, and it may be on the coast as well. It is also necessarily 1, 2, 3, right? It is far enough away from my first city, if I go here, to put a city on it. And honestly, I do not mind this start. It's not terrible. It really isn't. Another thing you could consider is to move to here to get that faith. Getting that faith online early might be a really good idea as well. This is just not, it's not bad, it's just not ideal. Moving here also is a good idea because there's probably some iron in this hill. Grassland hills next to mountains and rivers, you often get some iron in there. This is tricky. I think what we're going to do is we're going to be okay burning some turns. We would like a pretty decent capital city here. So we're going to move over here. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yep. We're going to move onto this hill. So right here, I'm moving away from the adjacency of these mountains, which I don't want to do too much. And I want to, if I move here, this is going to be settleable later. And then I'll find another place for a coastal city. Yep, I'm going to settle on the luxury, and I'm just going to make peace with it. So an advantage of settling on a luxury is that you get to work it immediately, right? Which means you get to sell it to the AI immediately. This is not perfect. It will do. It will do just fine. So I've got a lot of jungle and woods. So I'm going to start with a little mining. And again, my beloved slinger. I don't have any better tile to work. Does not matter. It's okay because I've got that free faith, which means I'm going to get an early pantheon. And doing that is going to help me offset what I lack right from moving my settler so much. It's going to be really, really fine. If you burn a few turns to find the right location, it's really okay. Having these 3 tiles with free faith next to me is really, really good. See, and we're already finding some great locations to settle. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so here's an example. I love this coastal start. It's a little bit far away from my capital, but we could tuck in a harbor into here. We're going to put a campus right here because the campus is going to get +2 from this reef. And if we did something like this, this would be good for the diplomatic quarter, right? That would be a good idea there, okay? Because I'm going to put the government plaza in my capital, and I'll want the diplomatic quarter somewhere else. One thing I'm always going to try to do, I'm going to be trying to cram as many cities into here as I can, right? So now that I've placed that city, I can also place one here. Not all of these cities have to be amazing. We just have to claim that land. We just want the land to be ours and not somebody else's. Right? So again, another city here. And what I'm doing is I'm going 1, 2, 3, settle there, right? Because this tile will go to this city, this tile will go to that city. Your cities can work 3 tiles outside of them, right? So this capital can work all the way to here, but it's rare that your cities are going to organically grow that far, okay? It's going to be very far into the game before you actually get to that point, unless you invest a lot of gold into purchasing those tiles and they get very expensive. So cramming your cities close together can actually be really beneficial because you can also swap these tiles between cities when you need them, right? So right now, I'm going to be working that tile right there because I want that free faith. Now I'm making 2 per turn. That's good. But later on, if I want to come over here, settle a city here, I can swap this tile over because this city will need it to help it keep growing. Not a lot of barbarians around. We feel pretty safe. I haven't seen any pop up. We now have a really decent 2 food, 2 production tile. And I think now it's time to get a little bit greedy, and we're going to already start working on our 2nd settler. And once again, we have a cultural city-state early on in the game. We see the envoy pop up. We were the first to meet them. This is actually going very, very well. This is a great start.
When you find yourself in a hole, quit digging.
Keep moving around, keep finding places to advance. I don't need an early holy site because I've got this +2 faith per turn, right? However, because as Japan I get them for free, I can use that to leverage my way into something else. If I can save up enough gold to buy my way over here, this is a +4 holy site. So it may be worth it just going for it. All right, and there's our barbarian encampment. We're going to go ahead and knock that out, keep exploring with our slinger.
At his best, man is the noblest of all animals.
When you meet your city-states,
separated from law and justice, he is the worst.
Come on, Sean Bean. Good. When you meet your city-states, come in here and see if they have a mission they want you to complete. They want a trade route. That's easy enough to do, so we're going to get working on that soon. But right now we're going to be focusing on expansion. And again, we have that 2 faith for free on our tiles, so we don't need the God King policy card here. We're going to go urban planning, and we're going to go discipline because we're about to go get onto this barbarian encampment to the north. Your slingers, when they're solo, they're a little bit vulnerable, so I'm not going to get too far away. And again, I'm trying to stay on hill tiles as often as I can because you're going to get some defensive bonus and also you're going to get some extra visibility. I don't mind moving slow here, right? Moving slow early on is really okay because you want to have some gold and some resources before you start meeting your opponent AIs anyway. They can help you make those early diplomatic relationships a lot easier to manage. As soon as I meet an opponent, I can sell them this luxury resource. I think it's tobacco. Yeah. I can sell that to them because I've settled on top of it and I get access for free. I don't have to wait until I've unlocked irrigation. There truly are some great city locations down here. I think we made the right moves early on. Okay, so we have our pick of the litter, I believe, for Pantheon beliefs because of that free faith on those tobacco tiles. And we have arguably the best one in the game, the free settler. We're just going to go for that. And that will, number one, give us an advantage, but also it helps me show you some city planning strategies here. So these are all going to be cities. And they're all going to be really good cities, but they're not going to be the best cities early on. These are all going to be wonderful, just not in the early game. The really good early game cities are down here. So let's look at the settler lens again. This is a Plains Hill tile, which I love to settle on. I'm going to get to work this, right? Until I want to chop it and throw an aqueduct there for some fresh water. I'm going to be able to put a +3 harbor here, something else here. This is fine. We're going to come all the way down here. We're going to stay close to our capital city, but still give ourselves some room to expand a little bit. Go ahead and get after this encampment so that I can use the gold to get my holy site down. And this should do it. One more. Okay, I don't want to scout too much further until I get my settler. I'm leaving this slinger here to protect this settler because I don't want something to come out from the fog here and grab that settler. Barbarians will do it, and the AI will do it as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit here and promote next turn. Promoting on that hill will be pretty safe. All right, this settler is safe, so I'm going to keep going in this direction. This is going to be a lot of fun. Maybe settle the stone there. Let's go ahead and heal you. Let you heal on the hill. All right. Good. Again, feeling pretty safe from barbs. Don't need more army. Gonna go for a monument to help this grow. And let's keep scouting. All right, so we seem to have a pretty self-contained situation here, which is very, very nice. We can focus on what Japan and Civ 6 loves to do, which is make some really great cities. Already seeing some kind of nice aqueduct and dam supported industrial complex down here. It's going to be lovely. Some pretty decent farm triangles as well. All right, so we've done our first city. We've done our second city. Now let's talk about how we expand even further. I am not noticing any threat from the north. None at all, right? That leads me to believe that I have time to settle all of this later. I can leave this on the back burner and I can come down here. I'm not noticing any loyalty pressure problem, but because I know that I have time up here, I'm going to choose to settle down here because I don't know if I have time to come back and pick this land up later. Got to remember that in Civilization 6, land really is power. You want to grab it early and you want to grab a lot of it. So I'm just trying to prioritize here. This is going to be good, but it's going to be good later on. These cities, because of the food, because I'm going to settle on this and get 2 production for free, right? Or I could settle here or here, save the stone for the masonry boost, which is also a good idea, right? Always keep in mind, look at, as you're going through the science and culture tree, pay attention to what you can boost. I know that I can boost this if I improve that, so maybe I don't want to crush it by settling on it. Although if you do settle on it, you do keep the production, which is very, very nice. All right. All right. Here we can see the advantage of leading some units ahead of your settler. Because if he had just marched down here and I didn't have a scouting unit, I would be in trouble. So I'm in woods here. I'm doing okay. I can get a hit here and then I can fall back to the river. And yeah, I think I'm going for it. Let's go. Not a bad idea to get a couple boats. Not a bad idea to scout this way along this mountain chain. Yep, good. So I think if I move back here, either way you move, I can get another hit and I can survive this fine. Yep. Good. I think this is safe. I've been wrong before. Got my Pantheon. Don't need to swap that in. I don't need to rush builders. I do want to keep that in place for now. Go ahead and take the volley promotion. He will attack me, and then I will get the kill and the boost to archery. Just a little defensive positioning can always help out. Right, and then again, I'm going to fortify once I'm in defensible terrain. This hill would do, this would do, but I want to get a little more visibility up here. So let's see if we can make our way over to this +4 holy site. One thing that you need to know is that the third ring of tiles is always going to be more expensive than the second ring of tiles, right? So early on, you may not have the ability, but here we do because we've been saving our gold. And because we're playing Japan, we're going to get this in half the time. +4 holy site is going to give us some era score, which is going to be great. We're going to send this scout to defend our 2 cities. Slinger, rather. And here we could do something that's a little bit cheeky if we wanted. We could actually have an inland harbor and then throw another city down here. We'll get some more gold, and I like it. We're going to get some era score for settling near the floodplain, which is always good. Going to get a clear on this camp here, which is going to be nice. And not a real good place for a holy site, so monument. When in doubt, monuments and builders. Always good ideas. Always good ideas. Little light on military, that's okay. Maybe it isn't. All right, good. So, meeting early AI. These are some things that come up often in the question forums as well. How do I make them like me? How do I get them not to attack me? Now, we may be in trouble here because we just spent a lot of gold. We may not have... No, we're okay. We've still got gold because we just cleared that barbarian encampment. First thing we're going to do is we're going to send them a delegation. Right? Remember, we settled on that tobacco. We don't have irrigation yet, but we still have this tobacco to sell. That is a really good trade for you. It's not that good for me. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to 3. I'll take that 2. And now that I have taken less than he offered, I've given him a friendly trade deal, and he may like me even more. I'm going to be very careful not to approach his territory with my military units. If I had a scout or a missionary, I would do that, right? But I don't, so I'm not going to. Excuse me. Now, he is most likely in here somewhere, so I'm not going that way. I'm going to respect his lands and leave him alone. Ah, yes, there's the delegation. Excellent. So I get gold from him that I gave to him. And I'm staying clear of his territory. Good, good, good. We should see a smiley face pop up sometime soon. I want to see if he's closed his borders yet. He hasn't because we're just playing on Prince, and that's okay. Oh, beautiful cities up here. We've gotten the boost to writing because we've met another civilization. So now is a good time to go for writing and pottery. I'm going to do a quick check and see who is recruiting great prophets. Currently, it's only Khmer. No one else is recruiting a great prophet. So here, I'm going to be safe to get a shrine first and then do a couple holy site prayers. So we're trying to get an early religion. These are really good, right? You see this often in early games. You know how the AI keeps beating me to getting a religion. Here, I know because there's only one opponent right now, right? I'm safe to go ahead and pick up a shrine, get that passive great person point generation underneath the active generation you're going to get from the project, right? So I'm going to do both here. If there was a big crunch for great profits at this point, I would skip the shrine and just run 3 of these. But I want to get that shrine online because it can be pretty handy. I know I'm going to have a harbor in here somewhere, and I want that fairly early. So I'm going to skip a holy site in this city because I want to have the population room for that harbor. I don't want to wait until I get to 4 population to build my second district. That's a pretty decent thing to cover while we are discussing it. That's another thing that you see quite often. Why can't I build another district in the city? When you first put your city down, you can build a district. Then you have to wait to population 4 to build your second one. So it's 1, 4, 7, 10, etc. Right? So early on, you really want to be careful about how many districts you're building and whether or not they're actually helping your victory condition. Because you may actually put yourself in a bind where you can't place the districts that you really want to. Okay, another barbarian camp. He's at full health. We've got a scout up there. Less than ideal, but there's nowhere for him to go back to. So he's going to interrupt my building the shrine, but that's okay because I had a prayer queued up. So it's just going to switch to running that prayer, which is a good thing anyway. I am a little light on military. I'm going to treat myself to a slinger. I'd like to get 3 slingers early on. I like to save up gold and get 3 archers early on, and that kind of fits with this 3 city strategy here anyway. I'm not going to move on this encampment until I can move with both troops at once. I think soon I will have killed 3 barbarians, so let's start thinking about clearing this rainforest. Oh, excellent. Very good. Now, unfortunately, I don't have another luxury to trade yet. But I do have the gold for the delegation, which is great. I can see if he's closed his borders. He hasn't. That's fine. Oh, here's another little cheeky thing you can do. When you go to the Make Deal screen, right, you see how there are no cities here? I have 2 cities here, which means I've settled 3 cities. Here, this means he's only settled his capital. If I come here and I look in this deal screen, I see that he has settled a second city and it only has a population of 1. So currently, I'm doing very, very well in terms of dominating the map, right? In addition to the expanded diplomacy ribbon here, you can see I'm leading in score. That's good. I'm ahead in military. That's good. We're equal on science. That's good. Good. This is all good. But you can also use the deal screen to see how you're doing in terms of cities. This can be good for identifying early threats and for deciding who you want to threaten yourself. All right, so Mr. Magnificent is most likely going to take this encampment, and that is fine by me. I don't need the gold. The arrow score would be nice, but most importantly, I want to get this kill. Oh no, I lucked out. That's excellent. See if we can get this done. Nice pyramid city down here. Check our great people. We should get a big boost here. Yep, that's great. Get another one in 4 turns. Getting a religion is going to happen. All right, so we met a city-state, but we weren't the first to meet them. It's Cahokia. And they want to trade route. They want to trade route. We've already got an envoy with them, so we're going to send it to here so that we have the gold and culture. Excellent. We did get that. That's good. So this is a really nice transition point here because we're about to start getting into the techs that are going to take us out of the early game. We're about to start chopping and advancing and really moving on to the next part of this series that I want to do. How do I start growing my cities? How do I grow them fast, and how do I keep up with the AI? Because we're about to finish two very important early technology and a policy here. We're about to start ramping all of this stuff up. I think this is actually a really good place to stop here before we transition into the next segment. So, okay, turn 43. 3 cities out by turn 43. Our military's doing great. This is looking good. So we're going to go ahead and take a break here, and I will catch you all next time. All right. Take care. Laters.